You build 100 crore rupee brand and then you exited.
2016 में मैंने ये बिजनेस स्टार्ट किया था. 2 साल के लिए बिजनेस चला भी नहीं. तो आई गॉट वेरी स्केर्ड, बट आई रिमेंबर वी हैड लाइक 30-40 lakhs लेफ्ट. फिर कोविड आया, तो वी स्केल्ड 7x in the year 2020.
कौन सी टॉप कैटेगरीज या नीशेस आप देख रहे हो इन द इंडियन ई कॉमर्स स्पेस जो लेट्स से अगले 3 years 5 years में लाइक बूम करने वाले हैं?
अगर आपको बाहर से पैसा नहीं उठाना है तो फैशन इज मैसिव. वन कैटेगरी विच आई एम पर्सनली वेरी बुलिश अबाउट इज, बट ये 5 कैटेगरीज बूम होने वाले.
Let's talk about some people, who you've taught, all these years.
One of my favorite stories is आदिल कादरी.
Yeah.
आदिल एक Tier 4 सिटी से है. अपने ब्रांड पे उसने एक ब्रांड बनाया है. But I think that's not the story. The story is, the second story is an amazing company called Eat Better. मेरे एडवाइस सुन के 5 से 50 लाख 6 महीने में पहुंच गया.
क्या एक ऐसा कुछ फैक्टर है जो अमन गुप्ता को बहुत सक्सेसफुल बनाता है?
One very honest interaction with him, where we were at some D2C summit in Goa. An entrepreneur came up and he started pitching his business straight on. Aman said, भाई वर्ल्ड कप फाइनल चल रहा है, लास्ट 5 ओवर, हम सब साथ में देख रहे हैं, तू क्यों पिच कर रहा है? मुझे लग रहा है कुछ मिलने वाला है. मैच देख, एंजॉय कर, कल मिल मुझसे. He was very honest with that entrepreneur as well, and I think that honesty is what makes him the person. He's also a marketing genius.
So now Arjun, now that we've shared the exciting news with everyone, what are you feeling about this?
हे गाइस, आज हमारे साथ एक ऐसे इंसान है जिन्होंने 29 ईयर्स की एज में ना एक 100 करोड़ रुपए का ब्रांड बनाया और नॉट जस्ट दैट, उससे एग्जिट भी लिया. ये 800 करोड़ रुपए का एक वीसी फंड भी रन करते हैं. ही इज पॉपुलरली नोन एज अ D2C गुरु ऑफ इंडिया एंड यू विल सी हिम एट एवरी बिग D2C इवेंट. ही taught some really interesting successful D2C entrepreneurs in the country like the founders of Pafora, Adil Kadri, Go Quick, and he's got a 3 lakh following across different social media platforms. He's followed by some really accomplished people like Aman Gupta, Anupam Mittal, Namita Thapar. Patriot at heart, ये इंडियन ई कॉमर्स को ना अलग लेवल पे लेके जाना चाहते हैं. और आज इनसे मैं अकेले इंटरेक्ट नहीं करूंगा, आज मैं ये करूंगा along with my dear friend and my business partner Ishan Suri. Ishan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, brother. I'm super excited to be back on the channel after almost a year now. And we have someone super special today to shoot this with. So yeah, let's get it cracking.
I think it's time. Let's welcome Mr. Arjun Vaidya. Arjun, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, let's go.
So nice. This has been in works for a year, and Ishan has come back to the podcast after a year. So it's a big day.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so super excited, right? So Arjun, sabse pehle let's just talk about when you were 29, right? And you were 31 right now? 31, 32?
32.
Yeah. So it's like no comment. Okay, so when you were 29, year 21, you built 100 crore rupee brand, right? And then you exited. So अगर हम थोड़ा we go down the memory lane, तो उस टाइम पे वो फीलिंग कैसा था? When all of this was happening.
अब एग्जिट में ना फीलिंग थोड़ा बिटर स्वीट होता है. अभी एग्जिट इज अ अंडरस्टूड कॉन्सेप्ट इन इंडिया. हमने बहुत से एग्जिट्स देखे हैं. 2020-21 में देयर वर नॉट सो मेनी एग्जिट्स एंड एंटरप्रेन्योर्स एग्जिटिंग. तो एक्चुअली हमारे लिए अच्छा लग रहा था कि हम एग्जिट कर रहे थे, बट अराउंड अस पीपल वर लाइक, क्या हो रहा है, वाई यू सेलिंग योर बिजनेस, कुछ गलत चल रहा है घर पे, क्या आपको पैसे की जरूरत है, राइट? सो दैट वाज आउटसाइड द कॉन्वर्सेशन, बट लेट्स लीव असाइड what's happening outside because that's not relevant. So there was some social stigma associated with selling your business कि डैड को पैसे की जरूरत है types, whatever. और internally ना देखो, हर entrepreneur की last goal, final goal is some outcome. It could be an IPO, it could be a strategic sale, it could be an exit, it could be funding. तो हर entrepreneur की ये last outcome अलग होती है, and it comes at a different time also. Some people take 2 years, some people take 5 years like me, some people take 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. But whenever वो आता है, तो there is a feeling of के accomplishment, right? That I've reached here. And the feeling is very complex because accomplishment के साथ, achievement के साथ एक बहुत सी like loneliness भी feeling आती है, right? Just think about it. 2016 में मैंने ये business start किया था. On my grandfather's legacy, with my grandfather's name. 2 साल के लिए बिजनेस चला भी नहीं, but I would still spend 14 hours a day trying to make it work. फिर बिजनेस चलने लगा, फिर कोविड आया, फिर बिजनेस दौड़ने लगा. We scaled really rapidly in the year of COVID. And then one fine day you are exiting the business, which is a good thing. But the thing you are spending 95% of your day on सुबह से रात हम एक ही चीज सोच रहे थे,
करेक्ट.
रेवेन्यू कैसे बढ़ाओ, टीम को कैसे मैनेज करो, अमेजोन पे सेल कैसे बढ़ाओ, कौन से नए प्रोडक्ट्स लॉन्च करने हैं, और फिर एक दिन वैनिश्ड. सो इट्स अ ग्रेट फीलिंग ऑफ अकम्पलिशमेंट. यहाँ पहुंचा हूँ मैं, ये आउटकम लाया हूँ मैं. माई पेरेंट्स मेड मनी, माई पेरेंट्स ऑल्सो शेयर होल्डर्स इन द कंपनी, दे मेड अ लॉट ऑफ मनी एज वेल. बट एक ऐसा एम्प्टीनेस सा भी फीलिंग आ जाता है कि अभी इन मई 21 और जून 21 मेरा पूरा कैलेंडर एम्प्टी था. लाइक आई रिमेंबर वन वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग anecdote. I had nothing to do on a Tuesday. And so I put in our building WhatsApp group, anybody know a table tennis coach? And someone replied with a 12-year-old's table tennis coach and I called him. मैंने 9 सेशन के लिए पे किए थे. 3 सेशन के बाद I said ये नहीं होगा. 2 बजे दोपहर को I can't be learning table tennis. I'll do something else but not this.
Okay.
You got, like बाहर से ऐसा ड्रीम होता है ना हमारा कि I want to go on a holiday which does not end.
Yeah.
I want to watch Netflix until I'm bored of watching Netflix. And जब वो अपॉर्चुनिटी आती ना कि you can now watch Netflix for 12 hours, you don't want to watch Netflix for 12 hours.
Understood.
So it was a bittersweet feeling. Good, exciting, accomplishment. यहाँ पहुंचा हूँ मैं, ये एज पे पहुंचा हूँ, मेरे दादाजी की लेगेसी को आगे बढ़ाया मैंने. बट ऑल्सो एक एम्प्टीनेस सा फीलिंग कि अभी क्या, what to do now, where do I go from here now. And at that time, वो समय में मेरे डैड ने एक बहुत अच्छी चीज़ बोली थी मुझे. He said कि यार, my dad's also an entrepreneur. He runs the jewelry and watch business. He's been doing it for 40 years. He said, मैं 40 साल से business चला रहा हूँ. Business ठीक जा रहा है. I built a good business. But never in my life have I got the opportunity to pause. चलता रहता है, गाड़ी चलती रहती है, right? You just keep going and going and going. And he said, very few people get this opportunity, use it well. And that's when I said, okay, I can't waste my time now. I have to do something with my time.
Nice.
And what I'm doing with my time, we'll know a little bit later in the podcast, but yeah.
Okay, so that was a super interesting story, Arjun. I have a question. कि जब वो, when you get that, वो जब check hit होता है बैंक में, what is like, if you can go back to that very moment, आप क्या feel कर रहे थे उस time? Like, what was that thing which raced through your head, and what was the feeling maybe 30 days from then? Just walk us through that whole journey, you know.
So you know, anytime something like this happens, आप अपने मन में ये बहुत play up करते हो कि it was supposed to happen today, then it got delayed by 2 days, then it got delayed by 3 days. And eventually it got delayed by like 1-2 weeks, which is not a big amount of time. I think it got delayed by 2 weeks or something. But every day of those 2 weeks are like, आज होगा, कब होगा, आज होगा. I remember telling my parents, I don't think this is ever going to happen. It's delayed. It's delayed. My dad said, boss.
Yeah, it's a huge amount.
It's a big amount and it's a big thing. And last में agreement में थोड़े changes है, थोड़े lawyers के बात होते रहते हैं, whatever. So it was one of those mornings
You're
where
always
I thought,
on the edge, right?
you're always on the edge. Yeah. Like I remember, अभी तो जब ये last phase हो रहा था, तो we were totally free, right? Like we were only working on this because जब तक ये खत्म ना हो तो we can't even move on to the next thing, right? And my dad has a very close friend who used to live in our building at that time. Now he's obviously moved out. जिन्होंने 30 साल पहले अपनी बिजनेस बेची थी.
Okay.
30 साल पहले. और from that time he's been chilling.
Okay.
He's one of those guys जो like he lives life to the fullest. He enjoys life. He loves music. He loves holidays. He loves movies. He loves food. So he just enjoys life. And he would keep calling me at that time saying, would you like to come sailing? Would you like to come sailing? And I would be like, Uncle, 5 baj gaye. Like it's Wednesday evening. I can't come sailing today. And so one of those days I was so frustrated. And then he called me and I was like, aaj bhi nahi hone wala. So I said, okay, uncle, I'll come sailing with you today. And at 5 o'clock, I went with him from Gateway of India. He took a boat out and we went and sailing and enjoyed, had some good food. All of that, right? And then the next day is when it was supposed to happen. Now, it was supposed to happen in the morning. And then finally lawyers का कुछ बात हो रहा था. Last minute, ये change करो, वो change करो. And I was like completely frustrated. Like आज भी नहीं होने वाला है. अभी वापस last minute कुछ lawyer कर रहा है, whatever. And then it reached about lunchtime and it was all closed. And then it came to a point that अच्छा अभी 2 बजे है और 5 बजे बैंक बंद होने वाला है. तो ये ट्रांजैक्शन टाइम पे होएगा कि नहीं होएगा. And I was like, God, you're going to make me wait one more day for this.
Yeah.
But eventually, actually, at about 3:34 on that day, whatever that day was in April 2021, the transaction happened. I remember I was sitting in my dad's office when it happened. And it got done, the transaction.
Okay.
And आप like बहुत समय से ये एक चीज को प्ले अप कर रहे हो कि when it happens I'll feel like this, when it happens I'll feel like this. When it happened I just felt relief. I just felt like a huge burden had been lifted off me, and I just felt light and calm and relaxed. And I remember I went to my mom. She was there in a jewelry business, so she was sitting with a client, and I told her to move away. And I gave her a big hug. And वो accomplishment हो गई ना, खत्म हो गई, आ गया पैसा बैंक में. I think we did a family dinner or something like that to celebrate. वैसे मेरे मन में ऐसा था कि मैं एक बहुत बड़ा पार्टी करूंगा, थ्रो करूंगा, I'll invite all my friends. कुछ नहीं हुआ.
But if you can pause, like, what मतलब आपने क्या मतलब you phone पे देखा वो some या laptop पे देखा? I just want to really dive deep into this, like to
phone पे वो text message आता है ना?
Oh, the bank one.
Even that was really funny, right? Because at least I had a nice bank. I used to bank with ICICI. Okay. Right, I'm not going to name the bank.
Yeah, exactly. I got you. I'm
not going to name the bank that my dad used to bank with because some money was transferred to him.
Okay.
And text message time पे नहीं आया. फिर हम बैंक में कॉल कर रहे हैं, किसी को पता नहीं आया कि नहीं आया, ये वो whatever. So after that I made my dad change his bank account because you have to confirm all of the amounts have been received, right? Because a large amount being transferred, etc. All of that. तो वो थोड़ा last minute वो भी frustration आ गया. But then after that I feel like nothing changed, right? So I give this specific example all the time. It's been 3 years since we sold the business, and we got a good amount of capital. Amount of capital I don't need to work for the rest of my life if I choose not to, right? But I don't fly business class. I still fly economy class. We went for a family vacation this summer to London. My parents booked us the tickets. They paid for the vacation. So they said, we'll fly business class. We'll pay for your economy tickets. If you want to upgrade, you can upgrade yourself. I said, no, I'm not upgrading myself. You're paying for economy. I'm going economy. I only fly economy. And I think that mindset has not changed. Like one more example I'll give you. I don't love cars. Right? I don't have a passion for cars. I don't like good cars, expensive cars, etc.
Yeah,
that for me, car is के point A से point B जाना है तो गाड़ी में बैठ के पहुंच जाओ, right? So when I started the business, I used to drive a Honda Jazz, एक छोटा गाड़ी था. I was 26 साल का था मैं. I can't even grow a mustache or beard. Like you guys can grow some facial hair. Even at 32, I can't grow facial hair. So nobody was taking me seriously. And I asked my dad, like, क्या करूँ मैं? Like, people are like, आप boss को भेजो है ना? Like, नहीं, मैं ही boss हूँ. So he said, you upgrade to a Hyundai Creta. So मेरे पास, and I had to buy the car myself. तो मेरे पास वो समय 2016 में 9 लाख रुपए थे. Like, that I had allocated for the car. 9 लाख रुपए में Hyundai Creta नहीं मिलता है. But dad said, Creta ले लो. Showroom घर के पास में था, उनको अच्छा लगा उड़ा. So my dad supported me. He paid 6 lakhs for the car. I paid 9 lakhs. It was 15 lakh rupees. तो अभी Creta था मेरे पास. अभी dad बोल रहे थे, भाई तू upgrade कर ले गाड़ी. अभी कंपनी में चाहे एटलीस्ट गाड़ी तो अपग्रेड कर ले. So I went to Mercedes and BMW and Audi showrooms with my dad. But मैंने कभी ये गाड़ी लिया नहीं है लाइफ में. Creta was the only car I bought in my life. I didn't have context. When I saw the prices of the cars, मैं डर गया. I said नहीं मैं MG EV लेके चला लूंगा. First I went to buy MG Hector and then I said अगर मैं टेक में इन्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ, स्टार्टअप्स में इन्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ तो इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल लेना चाहिए. तो आई अपग्रेड टू एन MG EV. So even that didn't change in my life. It's like 16 लाख में ये 15 लाख में क्रेटा लिया और फिर 21 लाख में ये MG EV ले लिया और पेट्रोल सेविंग भी हो जाएगा वो गाड़ी में. तो इट्स एक्चुअली लिटिल बिट लेस देन दैट. और कुछ गवर्नमेंट सब्सिडीज भी मिल रहे थे टू बाय एन EV एट दैट टाइम इन 21. द ओनली बिग थिंग दैट चेंज इन माई लाइफ इज मैंने घर खरीदा था. एंड आई नेवर थॉट आई विल बाय अ हाउस. आई एम ऑलवेज द रेंटर बिकॉज इन residential real estate you get 2-3% yield for rent. So I thought buying a house is not a prudent financial investment or right use of resources.
More of an emotional investment.
I think हाँ मेरे parents के building में मैंने घर लिया, staying in the same building. That was a great feeling. And I remember जब हमने घर लिया था तो इतना excitement, इतना emotion नहीं, there wasn't so much emotion. But 9 months later जब हम घर का पूजा कर रहे थे and then the husband and wife have to walk into the house together, placing their right foot in the house. That was a very emotional moment because as Trisha and I were walking in, जब हम आ रहे थे घर में तो at that time we put our right foot दरवाजे के पास and then we just looked at each other. We didn't say anything. But वो look में ऐसा महसूस हुआ कि like this was the effort we put in and this is the fruit of that effort, and this is a tangible sort of
Yeah,
feeling of
something to
that
show
success.
for.
तो
beautiful,
वो एक अच्छा feeling था, but I think otherwise life में इतना change नहीं हुआ.
So I've got a question. So everyone sees money differently, right? Some people, like most people, would relate money with buying luxury and traveling business class. The way you see money is very different. So how do you see money? Yeah, how were you seeing money back then?
देखो, I'm not going to lie and say कि I don't care for money and all of that, right? I think money is important,
Of course.
and I care to make it, and I it's important for me. But मेरे लाइफ में इतने materialistic चीज़ें की ज़रूरत नहीं है, right? I don't want to buy that car and I don't want to fly that first class, and ये मेरे aspirations नहीं है. मेरे aspirations ये थे कि अभी MG, EV और Audi e-tron के बीच में जो 70 लाख का गैप है कि 80 लाख का गैप है, उसमें 10-12 स्टार्टअप इन्वेस्टमेंट्स हो सकते हैं.
Nice.
तो मैं वहाँ पैसा डालता हूँ मेरा, राइट? सो द फर्स्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट आई मेड आफ्टर आई सोल्ड माई बिजनेस, very close friend of mine, Parth Jindal, he was in college with me. Outside of his work as JSW Cement and JSW Paint CEO, he runs a place called Inspire Institute of Sport.
Okay.
ये एक हाई परफॉर्मेंस ओलंपिक ट्रेनिंग फैसिलिटी है जहाँ नीरज चोपड़ा, बजरंग पुनिया, साक्षी मलिक सब ट्रेन करते हैं. तो 2018 में जब उसने ये सेंटर को लॉन्च किया था, तो वी ऑल वेंट एज फ्रेंड्स एंड वी ट्रेन्ड विद द एथलीट्स, हाउ दे ट्रेन्ड एक्सेट्रा. एंड उन्होंने बनाया था, वो वर्ल्ड क्लास था, बट ही वाज सेइंग कि देयर नॉट सो मेनी पीपल आर डोनेटिंग टू दिस कॉज. तो आई टोल्ड हिम, देख भाई, अभी पैसा नहीं है मेरे पास, डैड का पैसा है, मुझे डैड का पैसा नहीं है. जब भी मैं पैसा बनाता हूँ ना, आई गिव मनी हियर. And so 2021, I think August or July,
Okay.
Trisha and I committed to donating for 2 athletes from 21 till Paris Olympics. And इसका culmination था कि मैं Paris Olympics गया. I went to watch the Paris Olympics. And so this is how I like to
Beautiful. Great.
spend and use my money. And मेरे लिए sports बहुत important है. And मैं बहुत बड़ा cricket fan हूँ, मैं बहुत patriotic हूँ. But I think more needs to be done outside of cricket, and so this was my.
Okay. So let's talk about the Dr. Vaidya's journey, right? So you start, आपने बोला पहले 2 साल तक चल ही नहीं रहा था कुछ, right? And then I think I heard this on one of your podcasts or maybe one of your reels that you scaled Vaidya's to 5,000 orders a day, right? So can you give a breakdown कि 0 orders से लेके 100 होता है, 1000 होता है, just to give you some context. Like क्या क्या चीज़ें आप लोग कर रहे थे that you were able to scale to 5,000 orders a day?
डॉक्टर वैद्य के आई वुड से 3 phases थे. Phase 1 था फेलियर और फाइंडिंग प्रोडक्ट मार्केट फिट. Phase 2 था e-commerce early journey, and Phase 3 था e-commerce scale up. So I'll break the journey up into these 3 phases. तो पहला फेज था अक्टूबर 2016 में ब्रांड स्टार्ट हुआ था. 2016 में D2C was not a word.
Yeah.
E-com बोलते थे, डिजिटल फर्स्ट बोलते थे, बट आयुर्वेदा नोबडी थॉट ऑनलाइन बिकेगा. तो मैंने भी नहीं सोचा था कि आयुर्वेदा ऑनलाइन बिक सकता है. नवंबर 2017 में हमने वेबसाइट लॉन्च किया था.
Okay.
29 प्रोडक्ट्स लॉन्च किए थे. पहले ऑफलाइन में 5-6 प्रोडक्ट्स बेच रहे थे, फिर वेबसाइट पे आपको थोड़े और ऑप्शंस, वैरायटी चाहिए. तो 29 प्रोडक्ट्स लॉन्च किए थे एंड वी किक्ड ऑफ drvaidya's.com. So that is the second phase of Dr. Vaidya's, which is ये e-commerce प्रोडक्ट मार्केट फिट, स्केल अप एक्सेट्रा. वो समय में हमें कुछ नहीं समझ आता था. वेबसाइट बनाना, शॉपिफाई पे करना है कि वो कॉमर्स पे करना है, गूगल फेसबुक पे ऐड कैसे चलाना है, परफॉर्मेंस मार्केटिंग कैसे करना है, SEO क्या होता है. बट आज के समय में ना, यू हैव टू नो दिस ऑन डे 1 बिकॉज देयर आर सो मेनी ब्रांड, सो मच कॉम्पिटिशन, एवरीबडी नोज दिस. ई-कॉमर्स आज एक बहुत टेक्निकल बिजनेस बन गया है. वो समय में कॉम्पिटिशन नहीं था, कस्टमर्स इतने नहीं थे, तो आपको टाइम मिलता था. तो इट टुक अस 1 year टू लर्न ऑल ऑफ दीज निटी-ग्रिटीज. वेयरहाउस कैसे चलाना है, डिस्पैच कैसे करना है, COD ऑर्डर्स को कैसे मैनेज करना है, RTOs को कैसे मैनेज करना है. 1 साल में विद ऑल दीज लर्निंग्स, एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट लर्निंग जो हमने किया था डॉक्टर वैद्य में पहले साल में, वी डिडंट कीप अ कस्टमर सर्विस टीम. मेरे दादाजी की एक एंड्रॉइड फोन थी विद माई ग्रैंडफादर्स मोबाइल नंबर. द फर्स्ट कस्टमर केयर नंबर ऑफ डॉक्टर वैद्य वाज माई दादाज मोबाइल, बिकॉज कभी कभी उनके पेशेंट्स कॉल करते थे, तो उसको ही कस्टमर सर्विस नंबर बना दिया था हमने. एंड आई यूज्ड टू आंसर द फोन.
Nice.
And in the first year of e-commerce, I did 1,000 customer calls. My family used to laugh. Sunday में कोई कश्मीर से कॉल कर रहा है, Arjun will get off from the dinner table and say, सर बताओ हम आपको कैसे हेल्प कर सकते हैं. But with that I realized lots of things about my customer. पहले तो हम इंग्लिश में ऐड चलाते थे, मिनिमलिस्टिक, कूल, sexy ads, etc. all of that.
And then you understood.
But 80% of my customers didn't speak English. So English was totally irrelevant. So we switched our ads from English to Hindi and English. We figured out कि यार ये जो customers हैं ना, ये बॉम्बे, दिल्ली, बैंगलोर, हैदराबाद, चेन्नई से नहीं आ रहे. 82% outside top 10 cities.
Correct.
और मुजफ्फरनगर, अनंतनाग, इम्फाल और त्रिची में they may not be so easily available an Ayurvedic doctor in 2-3 kilometers. And so हमें उनको हाँ दवाई तो चाहिए, पर दवाई के साथ उनको एक कंसल्टेशन भी चाहिए. तो वी वर द फर्स्ट ब्रांड, वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट ब्रांड्स टू ऑफर अ फ्री डिजिटल कंसल्टेशन टू ऑल आवर पेशेंट्स. एंड अभी लोग मुझे लाइक आप फूड बेच रहे हो, आप क्रीम्स बेच रहे हो, आप कपड़े बेच रहे हो, तो द लेवल ऑफ ट्रस्ट इज नॉट वेरी हाई, राइट? लाइक लेट्स से यू ऑर्डर अ पोलो, यू आर वेयरिंग अ पोलो, यू आर वेयरिंग अ राउंड नेक टी शर्ट, यू ऑर्डर इट फ्रॉम सम ब्रांड एंड क्वालिटी इतनी अच्छी नहीं आई, 2-3 बार पहन के आपने फेंक दिया. बट आप दवाई ऐसे नहीं ले सकते हो. एनी मेडिसिन इज अ हाई ट्रस्ट गेम बिकॉज इंजेक्शन प्रोडक्ट है.
Correct.
यू आर पुटिंग इट इन योर बॉडी, राइट? एंड सो आई थिंक फ्रॉम दैट पर्सपेक्टिव ये ट्रस्ट बिल्ड करना ना बहुत हार्ड था. एंड सो वी डिड फ्री डिजिटल कंसल्टेशन. हमारी 150 साल की लेगेसी थी और जो भी कस्टमर्स थे उनके टेस्टिमोनियल्स हम यूज करते थे, दैट इफ दे हैव हैड अ गुड रिजल्ट विद आवर कंपनी. दैट हेल्प्ड अस गेट टू आवर फर्स्ट 50 orders a day.
Oh, nice.
And हमारा
And,
पहला
and you launched, you mentioned ads. So you went live with what? Meta, Facebook, Google? What were you doing?
वो समय में हम फेसबुक और गूगल एड्स कर रहे थे.
अच्छा.
इंस्टाग्राम में हमारा कस्टमर नहीं था.
ठीक है.
Right? We didn't have a strong customer base on Instagram. So we do Google and Facebook ads. And then 2019 में हमने टिकटॉक स्टार्ट किया था, जो शॉर्ट 1 साल का पीरियड था जब टिकटॉक था इंडिया में. It was available. So we largely ran on Facebook because Google after a certain point scale नहीं होता है.
Correct.
At least for this category. And actually ये category में lots of restrictions भी है ads में. ये words use कर सकते हो, ये words नहीं use कर सकते हो, ये banned है, ये flag होता है account. So we had to be very careful and learn all of that. And remember my wife had written a guide on how to advertise legally for medical products etc. all of that. तो 1 साल के बाद सब learnings आ गए. We learned how to run an online business also. I remember जब हमने वेयर हाउस स्टार्ट किया था तो पहले 50 स्क्वायर फुट में स्टार्ट किया था हमारे ऑफिस में. फिर हमने एक 250 स्क्वायर फुट का ऑफिस लिया था पास में. दैट बिकेम आवर वेयर हाउस. इवेंचुअली वी ग्रो इट. बट वेयर हाउस में ना पहले हम कबर्ड्स में प्रोडक्ट्स रखते थे. फिर भी रियलाइज कि यार 50 ऑर्डर्स आ रहे हैं तो कबर्ड से प्रोडक्ट नहीं निकाल सकते, तो हमने रैक्स बनाए थे, लाइक हाउ यू हैव इन ऑल वेयर हाउसेज. बट देयर वाज नो वन डूइंग ई-कॉमर्स रैकिंग. सो वी हैड टू ड्रॉ द वेयर हाउस स्ट्रक्चर ऑन पेपर. आज ये सब अवेलेबल है थर्ड पार्टी वेयर हाउसिंग में, वो समय में कुछ नहीं था.
तो ये करके इस पॉइंट पे आप 50 ऑर्डर्स अ डे तक
तो वी सेट अप दिस न्यू वेयर हाउस एंड वी रीच 50 ऑर्डर्स अ डे. एंड ये मैं बोल सकता हूँ प्रोडक्ट मार्केट फिट है.
ठीक है.
बिकॉज एट 50 ऑर्डर्स अ डे, इवन इफ आई वेंट टू स्लीप एंड आई डिडंट वेक अप द नेक्स्ट डे, 50-60 ऑर्डर्स हो जाते थे.
ठीक है.
तो दैट्स व्हेन वी सेड कि 30,000 रुपए हो जाएगा बिजनेस में. एनी हाउ 30,000-35,000 रुपए कर लेंगे हम बिजनेस में. Then we said अभी हमें कॉन्फिडेंस है कि ये बिजनेस स्केल कर सकते हैं. एंड दैट इज द थर्ड फेज ऑफ ग्रोथ ऑफ डॉक्टर वेल्स, व्हिच ई-कॉमर्स स्केल अप. द ग्रेट पार्ट अबाउट ई-कॉमर्स एज अ स्पेस इज, अगर आपने गाड़ी स्टार्ट किया है ना और पहले गियर पे चल रहा है और आपको क्लच और एक्सेलरेटर का वो मिक्स पता है कैसे चलाना है, तो यू कैन गो इनटू हायर गियर्स. एंड सो फ्रॉम 50 orders a day we just went from first gear to second gear to third gear, doing the same thing. Launching more products, scaling our ads, Google, YouTube start किया था, Facebook ads चला रहे थे, थोड़ा social media marketing start किया था. And we reached till June of 2019 where we raised our first round of capital. अभी हमने बहुत से VCs को pitch किया था. I think 60-70 VCs को भी pitch किया था. When we were doing 10 orders, 20 orders, 30 orders. When we hit that 50-100 orders a day and the business was getting traction, then we got 4 term sheets. Doctors, 4 different
term sheets मतलब
4 offers to invest, MOUs, LOIs, whatever you call it. Okay, expression of interest from a VC investor.
Understood.
जब हमने पैसा लिया ना जून 2019 में, तो 15 करोड़ हमारे बैंक अकाउंट में आए फॉर द बिजनेस. हम वो समय 50 लाख पर मंथ कर रहे थे. जब 15 करोड़ बैंक अकाउंट में आया ना, दैट्स द फर्स्ट टाइम दैट वी स्टार्टेड डूइंग बिजनेस विदाउट फियर. जब वो पैसा आया ना तो हम डर के बिना, लाइक we did without fear, we did business. We were able to hire a team. be able to hire proper resources who have some experience. पहले तो हम अपने आप सब चलाते थे. When we hired this team, we realized कि actually you can grow the business even more. I don't have to approve every ad, every copy, every piece of packaging, every SEO blog I used to read myself. पहली बार हमारे पास पैसा था to do brand marketing, content marketing, influencer marketing. और इससे brand Dr. Vaidya's got created. Dr. Vaidya's इसके पहले एक परफॉर्मेंस मार्केटिंग पुश ब्रांड था, कोई और आयुर्वेदा ब्रांड ऑनलाइन नहीं था, तो लोग डॉक्टर वैद्यास लेते थे. इसके बाद ब्रांड डॉक्टर वैद्यास बन गया. फिर मार्च 2020 में कोविड आ गया. एंड व्हाइल इट वाज वेरी बैड फॉर मोस्ट बिजनेसेस, इट वाज अमेजिंग फॉर आवर बिजनेस बिकॉज हम ऑनलाइन में ऑलरेडी लीडर थे, कस्टमर्स ऑनलाइन खरीद रहे थे, और आयुर्वेदा में बहुत इंटरेस्ट आ गया था. अश्वगंधा, गिलोय, काढ़ा, ऑल ऑफ दीज प्रोडक्ट्स वी लॉन्च्ड एंड वी स्केल्ड मैस. फ्रूट एंड वेजी वॉश we launched before Marico fruit and veggie wash. वो समय में पहले 3-4 महीने में people used to have this fruit and veggie wash के COVID हमारे खाने में भी आ जाएगा, ये वो whatever. Actually it's now it's an irrelevant product, but वो समय में ये सब products आ गए थे. तो we scaled 7x in the year 2020 in the time of COVID, and we kept the business running. And keeping a business running was also very hard. Orders आ रहे थे that time, like दिन के 10,000 orders भी आ रहे थे, 11,000. Our highest ever was 11,000 orders in one day. बट वेयर हाउस में काम करने के लोग नहीं थे, बिकॉज लोग डर रहे थे वेयर हाउस में. आई यूज्ड टू गो इन द वेयर हाउस एंड पैक ऑर्डर्स माई सेल्फ. माई वाइफ, माई ब्रदर हु वाज इन द ज्वेलरी बिजनेस, उनका तो कुछ काम ही नहीं था. मी एंड 3-4 people from our team who lived close by, I would pick them up in the morning in my car, drive them to the office, and curfew के पहले 4:30 बजे हम निकल के घर जाते थे. So that was the journey. Then we scaled from 50 to 100 to 200. And हमने एक अच्छा चीज़, like अच्छा tradition रखा था डॉक्टर वैद्यास में. And that tradition was कि every time we cross a 100 order benchmark, we'll cut a cake. And there was a time when we scaled from 1,000 to 1,100, 1,100 to 1,200, 1,300, like 3 times in a week. Okay. But we cut those 3 cakes to remember those small wins. It was actually my wife who said it, कि हर small win आपको celebrate करना होगा. Like you have to appreciate the people that got you there, right? So that was a nice thing we did. And then हाँ बस, I think in December 2020 we got the offer to sell the business, and हमें ये लगा कि ऑनलाइन इतना ही स्केल होगा, इसके आगे डॉक्टर वैद्यास को ऑफलाइन जाना होगा. और I was the biggest failure in offline. I was not able to run the business offline. I think that was also one of the reasons we decided कि
मतलब चलो अब हम पीक पे पहुंच गए हैं और अब इसका नेक्स्ट गेम.
पीक तो नहीं था, बट पीक दिख रहा था.
अच्छा,
पीक तो नहीं था बट पीक दिख रहा था.
ऐसा बोलते भी है ना दैट मतलब इवेंचुअली आपको एग्जिट तभी लेना चाहिए वंस यू गेट दैट रियलाइजेशन कि बस अब मेरा हो गया, या इसके ऊपर मैं इसको आई एम नॉट द राइट पर्सन.
आई एम नॉट द राइट पर्सन.
आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन. जो आपने बात की थी कि द डेल्टा बिटवीन 50 orders a day and then 7xing or like 10xing it, how, and let's say in some cases the founder ही limiting factor है क्योंकि वो ही सब कुछ कर रहा है. How quickly should you get to that point where you get that outside money or inside money, whatever you want to say, and maybe hire that team and run the business with no fear? How quickly should you get there?
I think
could you have got there quicker? Would you
100% we could have got there quicker, but
like should anyone get there quicker basically?
you can get there quicker, but you have to have the knowledge. We took 1.5 years to understand e-commerce business. Today there is much easier ways to get there. There's knowledge available, etc. All of that. Second thing is, how does an entrepreneur know that they have reached that product market fit, etc. all of that, right? लोग मुझे पूछे थे कि आपको कैसे पता था कि फर्स्ट गियर से सेकंड गियर कभी करना है? When do you scale? When do you push the pedal? When do you press the accelerator? Actually, that every entrepreneur figures out themselves. You smell the business. At 50-60 years, you're like, अभी चल रहा है business. अभी हमारे मन में नहीं है, actually business चल रहा है. And every entrepreneur figures out what that moment is. Now, funding is not for everyone. It's not for every business. Right? Some businesses need it, some businesses don't. But pressing the accelerator, that time of product market fit, every entrepreneur finds out.
क्योंकि आजकल तो यूजुअली जो ब्रांड्स परफॉर्मेंस लेड हैं तो मार्केटिंग लेड हैं, सो उनके लिए अगर कैक मैच हो रहा है तो वो सोचते हैं कि अब
बस बट ठीक है ना. इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल कैलकुलेशन इन ई कॉमर्स, एंड द कैलकुलेशन इज ये मेरा नेट रेवेन्यू है, डिस्काउंट के बाद ये मिल रहा है मुझे, ये मेरे कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स है, माइनस दैट इज योर कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन मार्जिन. इसके नीचे 2 ही कॉस्ट है, पेमेंट गेटवे प्लस लॉजिस्टिक्स प्लस पैकेजिंग चार्जेस एंड कैक. एज लॉन्ग एज the contribution margin is greater than the CAC plus the logistics cost, you can keep scaling the business.
Makes sense.
तो actually जब हम entrepreneurs के साथ बात करते हैं, I tell every entrepreneur हर दिन सुबह 11 बजे my accounts team would send me my unit economic sheet. We did these many orders. We spent so much money. This was the ROS. This was the conversion rate on the website. These are the products that sold. And this is the percentage of each product that sold. In that one glance, I could tell कि मेरा business चल रहा है कि नहीं चल रहा है.
And all these systems, आजकल तो हमारे पास we have the
अब you have softwares.
Yeah, and the privilege of also like talking to people like you or the content that we have access to where people can come on. और content उस time में नहीं था.
कुछ नहीं.
Right? So
कुछ
did you
नहीं,
set
हम US के content देखते थे, but वो सब contextual नहीं है.
Right.
COD नहीं था वहाँ. RTO कैसे manage करना है वो भी नहीं था वहाँ. Now you have all of this content
So
available.
did you like आपने सारे systems खुद set up करे pretty much?
Yeah, we used to get our daily report in a Excel sheet on a WhatsApp group.
Okay, the traditional
Yeah.
go-to way, got it.
It was a screenshot of an Excel on a WhatsApp group that reached my phone every day at 11 o'clock.
As long as it works, right? It's all good.
ठीक है, now there is more
Yeah.
digitally automated ways to do this.
Got it.
तो चलो अब हम यहाँ पे आ गए, exit हम लोगों ने ले लिया, and then I think like why did you then you got into the VC world, right? The funding and venture capital. What made you take that decision? मतलब ये पहले से कुछ सोच रखा था during the Dr. Vaidya days कि मैं एक point पे ये करूँगा, या it was उसका क्या story है?
100% no.
Okay.
I didn't think of it at all. तो लोग बोलते हैं कि आपने पहले इन्वेस्टिंग में जॉब किया था, फिर आपने बिजनेस बनाया, फिर वापस इन्वेस्टिंग पे गए. भाई आई वाज एन एनालिस्ट इन अ प्राइवेट इक्विटी फंड. मैंने जॉब कर रहा था वहाँ. तो आई वाज नॉट एन इन्वेस्टर राइट. आई डिडंट थिंक ऑफ डूइंग वीसी एक्सेट्रा. स्टार्ट कैसे हुआ? इट्स अ फनी स्टोरी. 2021 में आफ्टर वी सोल्ड द बिजनेस वी वर फ्री इन लाइफ एक्सेट्रा ऑल ऑफ दैट. तो we took a decision ke my wife used to live in London after graduation. She had worked in Goldman Sachs in London. We booked a one-way ticket to London.
Okay.
And we said 6 महीने हम यूरोप में spend करेंगे. You know how those people have the Europeans,
retirement.
they come to India and they discover themselves. We said हम यूरोप जाके discover कर लेंगे who we are and what we are, whatever.
Purpose in life.
And it seemed like an exciting plan.
Yeah.
But God didn't want us to do that.
Okay.
And so second wave of COVID hit. The airline cancelled our flight and we couldn't go to London.
Okay.
So we packed our bags and we just said we are taking a one-way trip to Alibag. And both of us went to Alibag and ऐसे schedule में कुछ था ही नहीं. तो I used to give 12 hours of my week to entrepreneurs in 25-minute slots.
For free.
Anybody who like बहुत से लोग exit के बाद reach out करते हैं, ये help चाहिए sir, ये help चाहिए. Can you help me? Can you advise me? Can you do this?
मतलब without asking for anything, free में.
Just can you give me this advice, right? So I said अभी unstructured नहीं करेंगे. मेरा Calendly link, I called it Founders for Founders, and I said ये link पे आप book कर लो slot. हर हफ्ते I will give 25-minute slots to any founders, right? And I did that maybe for like 2 years. 2 years of my life. Thursday 1 to 7 and Saturday 1 to 7 was just these slots.
Okay.
And so 12 a week multiplied by 100 weeks. You can imagine how many founders I would have spoken to through this initiative. And with this, I started figuring out that there are the same kind of questions that are coming from entrepreneurs. I'm giving some advice. One entrepreneur who we'll talk about implemented the advice. We did a call once a month for 4-5 months. His business went from 5 to 50 lakhs a month. So I said कि इसमें कुछ चल रहा है, तो I'll invest in some of these. मेरे पास पैसा है तो मैं थोड़ा इन्वेस्टमेंट करूँ. तो मैंने एंजल इन्वेस्टिंग स्टार्ट किया. एंजल इन्वेस्टिंग स्टार्ट किया तो मैं बोल रहा था कि ठीक है, आई कैन ओनली एंजल इन्वेस्ट इन सो मेनी कंपनीज. तो लेट मी राइट अ प्ले बुक. And I wrote a playbook on how to build a D2C brand. Split up into modules saying like how to do branding, how to do performance marketing, how to make a conversion friendly website, what is e-commerce SEO, how do you do logistics, how do you build the right team, how do you hyperscale the business. And then in all of this I said कि यार मैं अभी invest कर रहा हूँ पैसा, तो I should tell VCs that I'm investing, meet all the VCs. तो I went and met all the consumer VCs and said मैं भी invest कर रहा हूँ, अगर आपकी कोई अच्छे companies है तो मुझे बता दो, और अगर मेरे कोई अच्छे कंपनीज है तो आई कैन शेयर देम विद यू इफ यू वांट टू इन्वेस्ट फर्दर. इन दैट आई हैड अ चांस कॉन्वर्सेशन विद दिस फंड कॉल्ड वर्ल इन्वेस्ट. मैंने कभी लाइफ में वर्ल इन्वेस्ट के साथ बात नहीं किया था, बट दे वर वन ऑफ द टॉप कंज्यूमर फंड्स इन इंडिया, तो सबके साथ बात करता हूँ. मैंने वर्ल इन्वेस्ट के साथ भी बात किया.
वर्ली इन्वेस्ट, राइट?
वर्ल इन्वेस्ट.
तो ये वर्ली इज द मुंबई वाला वर्ली है? ये नहीं, वो नहीं है.
इट्स स्पेल्ड VRLI.
आई नो द स्पेलिंग. या
इट्स नॉट मुंबई वाला वर्ली. इट्स एक्चुअली अ बेल्जियम बेस्ड फंड. तो एक फैमिली का पैसा है और वो फैमिली ओन्स AB InBev. It's the largest beer company in the world. They have Stella Artois, Corona, Ho Gardens,
Okay.
all of these
Heineken also,
brands.
I think.
Heineken.
Yeah.
So they started investing in businesses outside of beer, beverages businesses outside of beer, food and beverage retail, and over 25 years it became a very large fund. And they'd been in India for 12 years, invested in Sula, Viba, Epigamia, Purple.com, Wakefit, Heads Up Hotels, Lahori Jeera Soda, so a bunch of interesting consumer brands. So जब पहले बात कर रहे थे हम तो I was just having a general catch-up chat first time and I met this guy who ran the business in India called Arjun Anand and he said आपका vibe तो अच्छा लग रहा है, we are looking for an ex-founder who's built and sold a consumer business who's below the age of 40 who still wants to work in life.
Okay.
To run a new VC fund we want to start. That person will put their own money, we'll put some money, we'll start this new structure and strategy, right? So I said, okay. He said, are you open to exploring this? I said, it was a general catch-up call, मैंने सोचा नहीं है, but opportunity तो interesting लग रहा है. Then over the next 6 months, we met every week, we designed the strategy, I met everybody else in the team on virtual calls, and then they invited me in October 2021 to their offsite.
Okay.
They were having an offsite in Spain. And they invited me to that offsite. I went to the offsite. I met the entire team, 50, 60 people globally. And after that, I said that I'm ready. Let's do this. And so December 21, I pitched to the family. And Jan 22, we started the fund.
Nice.
So it's actually a chance meeting that happened through a call that got scheduled via LinkedIn that had no agenda that led to this.
तो मतलब अगर हम इसमें देखें ना तो you were figuring things out along the way. ऐसा कुछ नहीं था कि मेरे को फंड चलाना है तो मैं ये करूं.
You know, I'll tell you, lots of entrepreneurs जो exit कर रहे हैं ना, like I would have spoken to maybe 100 entrepreneurs who have exited, tried to exit, thought of exiting. And the first question that comes from all of them is, हाँ exit तो कर लूंगा, पैसा तो बन जाएगा, but इसके आगे क्या? What will I do in life? I'll have nothing to do in life, right? ये मेरे मन में कभी नहीं था. I was like, I'm 29 years old. कुछ तो figure out हो जाएगा.
Yeah.
1 साल लगेगा, 2 साल लगेंगे, but कुछ तो figure out हो जाएगा.
It's a new challenge that you go for basically, right? But आपने बात की थी, आपने बहुत entrepreneurs, you spoke to hundreds of entrepreneurs in the journey even before starting a VC firm. So what are the top traits that you see in entrepreneurs? आपको लगता है कि यार ये चीजें अगर मेरे को, if I can recognize the pattern with these traits, then this is what would hopefully amount to something in the future with this founder, for example.
Yeah, even when you're investing, मतलब जब आप companies में invest कर रहे हो वैसे भी मतलब what makes you decide, and of course it's always about the entrepreneur, right? तो तब भी क्या दिखते हो आप?
अभी सोशल मीडिया है तो सब रील्स आते हैं, इंस्पिरेशनल स्टोरीज आते हैं, ये वो है, राइट? एंड सो इट सीम्स लाइक एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इज अ ब्यूटीफुल सेक्सी एक्साइटिंग जर्नी फ्रॉम द आउटसाइड.
It has become now.
अभी एंटरप्रेन्योर्स आर ऑलमोस्ट इक्वेटेड टू बॉलीवुड एक्टर्स एंड क्रिकेटर्स एंड सेलिब्रिटीज, राइट? पर जब हम बिल्ड कर रहे थे तो ये सब नहीं था. एंड सो आई सॉ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप एज अ जर्नी which needs the most grit, dedication and ability to fail and jump back up, right? And so पहले जब मैं फाउंडर को मिलता हूँ ना तो I want to see that grit and resilience, that purpose, that ये क्यों बिल्ड करना है. ऐसे ही अपॉर्चुनिटी है, मार्केट है तो बिल्ड करना है, देख लेते क्या होगा. नहीं, because today it's hot. Today crypto is hot, today blockchain is hot, today AI is hot, today D2C is hot. Tomorrow when it's not, you still have to run that business.
True. Yeah.
Because हम जब business करते हैं ना तो हम करते हैं cycles में, और cycles, when the cycle is good and the cycle is bad, you have to still run the business, right? So first thing I look for is who is the founder, will they fight through tough times, and what is their right to win. Ayurveda में मेरा एक unique right to win था, and I had access to 150 years of formulations. There are lots of problems that need to be done in space also, right? Solved in space. But I'm not an aerospace engineer. So I'm not the right guy to solve that problem, right? So I think that is the first thing. 50% of my decision is who is the person and why do I believe this guy will solve the problem.
Got it.
The second thing which is important and people don't talk about, लोग इसके बारे में बात नहीं करते, is जब मैं invest करता हूँ business में तो I'm backing a person, yes, but I'm also backing a market. तो ये मार्केट बड़ा है कि 3, 4, 5 साल में my investment, my company can grow 5x and 10x. That's also important. अभी I'm gluten free and sugar free, right? I don't eat gluten and I don't have sugar. I have gluten free, sugar free snacks all the time. But gluten free का मार्केट इतना छोटा है इंडिया में कि मैं gluten free business में इन्वेस्ट नहीं करना चाहता हूँ. If the business happens to be gluten-free and also does something else, it's fine. But if it's some really healthy, not good tasting gluten-free snacks, वो बिकता नहीं है इंडिया में. अर्जुन जैसे 1 लाख लोग रहेंगे इंडिया में, right? So is the market big enough कि ये investment 5x, 6x, 10x हो सकता है ये 3 से 5 साल में? That's the second thing. And जब market grow नहीं हो रहा है तो entrepreneur can't do anything. Right? It's not the entrepreneur's fault. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is then जो standard है business, revenue, gross margin, contribution margin, EBITDA profile, profitability क्या है business में, repeat कितना होता है, customers वापस आते हैं कि नहीं आते, reviews क्या है, ratings क्या है, and इसमें भी मैं team add करता हूँ. As I said earlier, एक बंदे से business नहीं बन सकता है. So what is the team that's bringing this business together that will take it forward?
So out of the 3 things you just mentioned, the latter 2 were एक ऐसी चीज़ है जो आप quantify कर सकते हो. But I want to ask you about the first thing, right? Grit and resilience, it's not like a binary thing. It's there's no scale to measure it. So आपके पास कोई framework है? Are these some pointers? How do you measure grit in someone by just meeting
I'll
them?
give you some examples, right?
Yeah.
मैंने एक business में invest किया है called अपनी बस. I'm an angel investor in a business called अपनी बस.
Okay.
The founder Sumit, before he started the business, ran a bus service in tier 2 India for 1.5 years and was a ticket collector on the buses himself to understand the problems. That is a great way to figure out that this guy really cares and he has sat on the bus and collected tickets and run this service himself, right? So examples like that, like have they seen tough times in their working career? Have they seen tough times and overcome it? Are they showing lots of passion? Like मेरे business में क्या था? एक young energetic entrepreneur था जिसको आयुर्वेदा में business बनाना था, but इसके पीछे क्या था? His grandfather has cured him of asthma. He has made a promise to his grandfather when he was 18 years old कि ये business के साथ कुछ करने वाला है और करेगा. And that every time I had a tough time, I would look on the right side of my chair was my Dadaji's chair. He was not there, but his name was on that chair, and I would see that chair and I would say, okay, I'm not doing this business just for myself. I'm doing it for him and I'll fight through whatever I'm going through for this.
Okay.
So you have to find those anecdotes. देखो quantitative में तो बहुत easy है, आप P&L देख लो, numbers दिख जाते हैं.
Right.
Qualitative में you have to spend time, meet the entrepreneur. Like I remember there's one investment company that wanted to invest in our brand. Eventually it didn't work out. But they did a very nice thing. First I met them in their office, सब business समझा. फिर वो मेरे ऑफिस आए and they met us, they met the team little bit here, 1-2 घंटे. And they called me that evening and they said, आज शाम को आपको ऑफिस के बाहर मिलना है. So can you join us for dinner? So we joined them for dinner, we had a lovely dinner. And then eventually it didn't work out with them, right, the investment. So I asked them, ये dinner, देखो आप हम आपके ऑफिस आए, आप हमारे ऑफिस आए, काम के बारे में बात हुआ, आपने हमें डिनर पे क्यों बुलाया? He said, you're a husband-wife duo. I wanted to see how you interact with each other outside the workplace.
Yeah.
Very important small things that make a difference, right? I wanted to see how you interact with each other out of the workplace.
So you also do that like out of is that something part of your like your
देखो COVID में ना one very weird thing started happening. We started making investments on Zoom calls. And we had to do it because we had no option. But I think it's the worst thing to do in the world.
Yeah.
100%.
You have to meet an entrepreneur in person. You have to see their demeanor. Someone may not be confident on calls, but they may be very confident in person. You have to go. I go and visit everybody's office.
Yeah.
We have met in Noida at one of my portfolio companies' office.
अच्छा, तो चलो ये समझ आ गया कि entrepreneur में क्या देखना है वगैरह वगैरह. Now, what do you see? कौन सी टॉप कैटेगरीज या नीशेस आप देख रहे हो इन दी इंडियन ई कॉमर्स स्पेस जो लेट्स से अगले 3 years 5 years में लाइक बूम करने वाले हैं और आर ऑन द ग्रोइंग साइड ऑफ द ग्राफ?
तो देखो, अगर आपको बूटस्ट्रैप बिजनेस बनाना है, अगर आपको बाहर से पैसा नहीं उठाना है, तो फैशन इज मैसिव. इट्स जस्ट माइंड बॉगलिंग कितना बड़ा ये कैटेगरी है. एंड द रीजन दैट इट्स अ बिग कैटेगरी इज बिकॉज इट वाज बुक्स, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड देन फैशन. इंडिया फैशन ऑनलाइन अभी 12 साल 13 साल से खरीद रहा है. And so customers are very comfortable with returning, with size changes, with buying these products online. जब 10 साल पहले मैंने मेरा जॉब स्टार्ट किया था, तो my boss asked me, you think people will buy shoes online? Like store के बाहर, और अभी देखो क्या क्या बिक रहा है online, right? So I think fashion is a massive category and it'll keep booming. If you want to build a bootstrap business, each micro niche in fashion can build a 100 crore business also. Personal care is a very, very large category, and इंडिया में ऑनलाइन शेयर ऑफ रिटेल इज सम 7-8%. 92% is still in offline. But in personal care, it's reached 30%. So personal care is growing very fast online. But अभी बहुत बड़े brands बन गए. Mamaearth has IPO'd. There are large businesses in personal care like Wow, like Mamaearth, like Pilgrim, like Plum, like Foxtail, like M Caffeine. ये बड़े business बन गए. तो अगर आपको personal care में बनाना है, minimalist, अगर आपको brand personal care में बनाना है तो आपको अभी niche ढूंढना होगा. Because generalized personal care brand Mamaearth के सामने आप खड़ा नहीं हो सकते हो. Right? So personal care is big, galloping online. Customers are happy to buy it online, but niche में करना होगा.
Or what if you just change the gender aspect of it? Because जो mainly personal brand brands हैं, they're catered to the female audience.
That's a niche in itself, right?
Yeah.
That's a niche in itself. So it could be male, it could be a different age group, it could be teens, it could be sun care focused. I met a brand that was focused on people above the age of 50. ऐसे niche में बना सकते हो आप business. niche में भी बड़ा business बन जाएगा. I think मेरे space में health and wellness में बहुत काम बाकी है, but Me Too products नहीं चलने वाले.
Me Too, अच्छा मतलब.
You can't launch the next apple cider vinegar. Sorry भाई, हो गया.
Got it.
You can't launch a whey protein today unless you're Gaurav Taneja. But otherwise you can't launch a whey protein today. तो health and wellness में India is having more and more supplements. That is clear. That is true. But health and wellness में आपको unique products launch करने हैं. One category which I am personally very bullish about is sports, fitness and nutrition. I think सालों से इंडिया में ये अपॉर्चुनिटी के बारे में बात हो रहा था बट कोई कर रहा ही नहीं था और कोई स्केल भी नहीं आ रहा था. डेकैथलॉन लास्ट ईयर 5,000 करोड़ किया है सेल में. डेकैथलॉन ने 5,000 CR in sales, right? तो and decathlon is the place where you go to get your first running shoes, first running tee, first squash racket, first table tennis
Like
racket.
grassroots level.
तो clearly कुछ change हो रहा है इंडिया में, right? And so sports, fitness and nutrition में we will see some action. And the last one I will say is pets. I think after COVID there has been a great humanization of pets. Lots of pet adoption in India. ये market इतना जल्दी grow नहीं होने वाला है. It will grow at its own pace, slow and sure, slow and sure, slow and sure. But I think the fifth category is pets. So I'll just recap. Fashion if bootstrapped. Personal care if you find a niche. Health and wellness if you find a unique product, genuinely unique product. Sports, fitness, nutrition for the future. And pets growing at a slower pace but still growing. ये 5 categories boom होने वाले.
Okay.
Yeah.
ठीक
And
है.
I think all these categories are like evergreen. मतलब they last करेंगे.
I think इसमें से pets और sports नया है. दूसरे तीनों evergreen है, but sports and pets नई categories है.
Yeah, 100%.
And one thing I will say about food category. क्विक कॉमर्स के पहले e-commerce में फूड नहीं चलता बिकॉज एवरेज ऑर्डर वैल्यू इज वेरी लो. 100-200 रुपए में आपका इकोनॉमिक्स ही नहीं बैठता है. लॉजिस्टिक्स कॉस्ट इज 80 रुपीज. अभी विद क्विक कॉमर्स फूड इज बैक. इट मे नॉट बी e-commerce बट विद क्विक कॉमर्स फूड इज बैक.
मतलब थ्रू Blinkit, Instamart,
Blinkit, Zepto, Instamart. अभी 2 और प्लेयर्स निकल गए. बिग बास्केट मिनट्स एंड फ्लिपकार्ट मिनट्स.
So they've changed the game 100%.
Yeah.
अच्छा, नाउ कमिंग बैक टू दिस, अब जैसे चलो एक तो हमारा इन्वेस्टिंग गेम हो गया, एक बूटस्ट्रैपिंग गेम हो गया. सो हाउ आर दीज 2 games डिफरेंट फ्रॉम ईच अदर? और लेट्स से व्हेन शुड समवन एक्चुअली रेज कैपिटल, कब करे, कब तक वो बूटस्ट्रैप रहा है? लाइक आपने ये फैशन वाला एग्जांपल दिया, राइट? सो व्हाट डू यू हैव टू से अबाउट दैट?
आई थिंक पहले तो शार्क टैंक के बाद सबको इन्वेस्टमेंट उठाना है. Everybody wants to raise investment, everybody wants to get investment, everybody wants to come on TV, and then I've had entrepreneurs come to me and I'm like, भाई आपका business तो इतना अच्छा है, आपको पैसे क्यों चाहिए? Why do you need money, right? Why do you want money? And they said कि यार शार्क टैंक पे लोग पैसा उठा रहे तो मुझे भी पैसा उठाना है. But your business is too good, you don't need the money, right? So I think 2 चीज़ है. पहले तो अगर आपने किसी का पैसा लिया है तो इमेजिन आप ट्रेडमिल पे चल रहे हो, राइट? एंड यू आर वॉकिंग एट स्पीड 4, स्पीड 5. You take somebody else's money, you have to walk at their pace or run at their pace. So when you take investment from a VC or an angel or a private equity fund, आप 4 पे नहीं चल सकते हो. आपको 9, 10, 11, 12 पे चलना होगा, depending on who the person is. So are you ready to run at that pace? Some people want to, like me, I wanted to run at that pace. My dad never wants to run at that pace. And we had the conversation, Nishkarsh, you asked me. I said, don't run on this pace. You won't like the pace, right? But there are some people who like the pace. Secondly, कोई कैटेगरीज में ना इनिशियली बहुत पैसे की जरूरत है. अगर आप कोई कैटेगरी क्रिएशन कर रहे हो, अभी अगर मैं शर्ट्स और टी शर्ट्स बेच रहा हूँ तो कोई कैटेगरी क्रिएशन नहीं है. मार्केट ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टेंट है. अगर मैं आयुर्वेदिक प्रोडक्ट्स बेच रहा हूँ तो मार्केट एग्जिस्टेंट है. बट अगर मैं कोई नए मॉलिक्यूल, जब पहले गमी बेयर्स हेल्थ एंड वेलनेस के लॉन्च हुए थे गमीज, तो वो कैटेगरी बनाने के लिए, वो कैटेगरी क्रिएट करने के पैसे की जरूरत होती है कि द बिजनेस कैन नॉट स्टार्ट विदाउट 5-10 crores ऑफ कैपिटल और 3-4 crores ऑफ कैपिटल. सो आई थिंक गॉट टू फिगर आउट ऑल्सो के why do I need this money? And the most important thing in the investor game is who is the person you're working with. I say this because यार डेटिंग पीरियड में तो सब मजा है, राइट? कॉर्टशिप पीरियड में तो सब मजा है, बट शादी के बाद आपको साथ में हर दिन सेम रूम में रहना होता है. एंड इट्स नॉट सो डीप अ रिलेशनशिप, बट आई वुड से इट्स अ वेरी वेरी क्लोज फ्रेंडशिप और अ वेरी सीरियस रिलेशनशिप इन दैट अगर आपने किसी से इन्वेस्टमेंट लिया है तो फॉर द नेक्स्ट 5 to 7 years यू विल हैव टू मीट दैट पर्सन एवरी मंथ फॉर ब्रेकफास्ट, लंच और डिनर. एंजल है तो ठीक है, यू विल हैव टू डू अ कॉल विद देम एवरी मंथ, पर अगर वीसी इंस्टीट्यूशन है तो हर महीना आपको कॉल करना, आपको मीटिंग करना होगा. सो प्रीटी अकम्प्लिश्ड फाउंडर टोल्ड मी, चूज योर इन्वेस्टर बेसिस. Yes, are they a good investor? Do they understand your business? But also, can you and them have breakfast, lunch, and dinner every month for the next 5 years?
Nice.
That vibe match has to be there.
So this is both ways, of course, from the founder to the investor.
And the investor to the founder.
Got it.
Like investor लोग बोलते हैं ना, can I work with them? Can they work with me? That's also
So there's a huge thing of liking here, is you trying to say, like?
not liking.
Okay.
You don't have to be best friends.
No, not best friend. Liking is not best
But
friends.
you have to have a match of vibe
Okay.
and a match of vision for the business. Let's say, for example, I'm doing 5 crore a year in sales, right? और मेरे business plan में मुझे पैसे लेने के बाद 20 करोड़ करना है next year. And my investor wants me to do 40. We are misaligned. I'm saying 20 crore because उससे ज़्यादा फिर unsustainable growth होगा, बहुत burn होगा, quality of customers will not be good. He's saying 40 because he wants the business to be at 40. Because that's what he believes or she believes. तो वो alignment भी बहुत crucial
So
है.
revenue alignment तो हो जाएगी because it's very like
Revenue alignment, marketing alignment, brand alignment, EBITDA alignment,
The point you made about having breakfast, I think that is more on the maybe not
qualitative angle.
Yeah.
अच्छा, तो एक बात बताओ. So you're called the brand building mentor of India, and you also mentioned you teach a lot, you create content and everything, which is very unlikely. Like ठीक है, अभी I think you were one of the first guys who started doing this after taking the exit and doing it. Up to a lot of people are doing it, but you still started. I think according to me, you were the first guy, जो properly उसको कर रहा है. So where does this passion for teaching come from?
Actually, जब हम बना रहे थे ना डॉक्टर वैद्यास, तो कोई हेल्प ही नहीं कर रहा था.
अच्छा.
I remember I went to meet one of my friends, my dad's friends. I went to meet one of my dad's friends who was a big retail guru, ran a very big retail business, and I took his time on a Sunday. 1 घंटे का टाइम लिया था. वो पहले 15 मिनट लेट आया, 20 मिनट बैठा और फिर he said I'm too busy and he didn't help me at all.
Okay.
And that time when I left the meeting, I told my dad कि कभी भी जब मैं लाइफ में कुछ बना लूँगा ना, तो I'll be the opposite of this. If I have some knowledge and expertise, I'll share it. And जब हम डॉक्टर वैद्यास बना रहे थे तो आरटीओ को कैसे मैनेज करना है, बिजनेस को कैसे स्केल करना है, रोआस को कैसे मेंटेन करना है, ये क्वेश्चंस के आंसर्स थे ही नहीं इंडिया में. Nobody had those answers. And so we saw a big gap in that knowledge sharing. And just by sharing that knowledge in a honest, structured and actionable way, it made so much impact on people that I said, if my time can help thousands of entrepreneurs, not one or two, if I can help thousands of entrepreneurs create Dr. Vaidya's, create a business like Dr. Vaidya's, of the scale of Dr. Vaidya's, I'm doing a service for our country. तो यही थॉट प्रोसेस हमने स्टार्ट किया था. इतना स्ट्रक्चर नहीं था कि मुझे टीचर बनना है, मुझे सिखाना है लोगों को, एक्सेट्रा ऑल ऑफ दैट. जस्ट लाइक क्वेश्चंस आ रहे थे, सब क्वेश्चन सेम थे, तो फिर एक स्ट्रक्चर से कैसे लोगों को नॉलेज बांटे. That was the idea.
You've worked with a lot of guys. काफी लोगों को आपने सिखाया है. I know about it. But let's talk about some people, who you've taught, all these years. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, some of my favorite stories I'll share with you, and there are lots of them. And forgive the people that I don't mention because I want to mention 100 people, but we don't have the time. One of my favorite stories is Adil Qadri.
Yeah.
And reason ये सबसे मेरा favorite story है is because of his journey, right? तो हम मिले थे I think 2018 या 2019 में Google के ऑफिस में कोई इवेंट था on Google ads etc, scaling a business, and I was a speaker at the event. And event के बाद, like when it got done, he came to me and he said, sir, आपसे mentorship लेनी है. तो I said, देख भाई, मैं अभी business चला रहा हूँ, तो अभी तो इतना टाइम नहीं है, बट कभी भी लाइफ में मिलेगा टाइम तो मैं मेंटर बन जाऊँगा आपका. And 2021 when we launched our first D2C program, he was the first sign up.
Okay.
So he had been following me since that time. I met Adil when he was doing 50 lakhs per month. And I've seen the journey now till like crores, right? On Shark Tank, he said how much he does. He does more than 10 CR a month in sales now in Adil Qadri. But I think that's not the story. The story is Adil ek tier 4 city se hai, Bilimora, outside of Valsad in Gujarat. Adil is not studied like an MBA or college or anything. He's a grassroots entrepreneur जिनमें बहुत पैशन था, जिनको ब्रांड बनाना था और अपने ब्रांड पे उसने एक ब्रांड बनाया है. And I can tell you, when we go to places together, people want to see Adil Qadri, people don't want to see me. There are kids all over who are inspired by him, who watch his videos, who watch his content of building a business. And ये simple है, ये humble है. 4 साल पहले जब हम मिले थे और आज जब हम मिले हैं उसका ब्रांड 10x हो गया है. बट वो सेम आदिल है. ऑफिस में आता है, मैं बोलता हूँ ये घड़ी क्यों पहन रहा है. सिंपल कॉन्वर्सेशन, राइट? व्हाई यू वेयरिंग दिस वॉच? ही सेड थोड़ा प्रोफेशनल लगता है सर जब मैं स्मार्ट वॉच पहनता हूँ. ऐसा टाइम नहीं दिख रहा है. ही सेड सर चार्ज भी नहीं किया 2 साल में, बट फिर भी प्रोफेशनल लगता हूँ मैं जब स्मार्ट वॉच पहनता हूँ. ही डिडंट वांट टू गो टू शार्क टैंक. ही वॉज वेरी नर्वस. ही सेड मेरे नंबर सब आ जाएंगे पब्लिक में, ये व्हाटएवर. आई टोल्ड हिम भाई तू शार्क टैंक पे जाएगा ना तो तू हजारों लोग को इंस्पायर कर लेगा. Your story will become public and people will know what Adil Qadri has done. I had to call him 5 times to get him on Shark Tank. And his life changed after he went on Shark Tank. तो ये जर्नी 50 लाख पर मंथ से 10 करोड़ पर मंथ वीकली बेसिस. He's a guy who calls me at 11 at night. And that relationship is the one we share. मैं बोलता हूँ भाई मैं फैमिली के साथ सब खत्म करके डिनर खत्म करके बात करता हूँ. So he waits till 11 at night, we have those calls. And now it's not a mentee-mentor relationship. It's a friendship. He's graduated and I'm so proud to see that.
Okay.
So that was one story. The second story is an amazing company called Eat Better. Eat Better is a Jaipur-based company. I met Shaurya and his wife Vidushi in that first period when I started doing those online chats with entrepreneurs. And they booked a slot with me. And Shaurya was doing a corporate coaching business. But his mother was a very good chef and had developed some nice snacks, healthy laddus, minute mixes, minute-based bhujiyas. And so he wanted to take his mother's mission forward. And so they launched this brand called Eat Better to take the recipes his mom had at home to more and more people. When we met, he was doing 5 lakhs a month in sales. And that's the entrepreneur I was talking about, जो मैं पहले बात कर रहा था, जो मेरे advice सुन के 5 से 50 लाख 6 महीने में पहुंच गया. And at that time I said कि यार ये बंदे में कुछ special है. And that time nobody believed the story of Eat Better. I was the only seed investor in the company, the first investor in the company. And I backed these people when nobody wanted to back them. फिर मैंने मेरे दोस्तों से उनका पहला पूरा राउंड करवाया. There was one big D2C event happening. I told all of the people there, इनमें इन्वेस्ट करो. वैसे 5 करोड़ का एक राउंड हो गया उसके बिजनेस में. Since then we've worked on packaging, we've worked on branding. I used to run a factory in Dr. तो मैं जयपुर गया था एक बार विजिट के लिए, कोई और काम के लिए. तो I went and visited their factory. And they are a massive Diwali gifting business. They cracked Diwali gifting. Like they do 30% of their year sale in Diwali. And my wife's nani called them and said, मुझे 25 boxes चाहिए for my own personal gifting. And Shaurya said, stock नहीं है. So I called him. I said, भाई क्या चल रहा है? I'm the first investor in this company. My relative has called and you're saying 25 boxes नहीं है क्या? He said, sir, I'm stocked out to the next level. And I remember going to his factory. Then I said, ये तो कोई supply issue है. How can you not take orders? Business आपके सामने, better you not taking orders. So I went to the factory and we sat down. We figured out how to automate all the lines of the factory. And today I'm so proud to say they moved to a completely automatic factory. They're doing more than 2.5 crore a month and they're just rocking and one of the top brands. Packaging पे हमने बात किया है, marketing पे हमने बात किया है, reels पे हमने बात किया है, and completely open to learning, listening and improving. And now they've become so big. Another very, very exciting story is a brand called Mittal. It's a brand that's reviving the Punjabi Thatera art of making utensils and vessels. मेरी आदित्य के साथ मुलाकात एक pitch session पे हुई थी.
Pitch session.
Some, those events where they have many investors and one entrepreneur pitches to 6-8 investors types, right? तो वो चल रहा था. So I had that conversation with Aditya and मुझे लगा कि product expensive है. 3,000-4,000 रुपए के utensils कौन लेने वाला है? But he was like very passionate about ये art को revive करना है. ये आर्ट को वापस लाना है in front of people. And I saw lots of me in him, right? He's 23, 24, so confident and so passionate about it. And I was like, जब मैंने स्टार्ट किया तो मुझे ये करना था आयुर्वेदा में. And so I remember saying कि यार तू जो भी कर रहा है ना मैं तेरे में इन्वेस्ट करूँगा. You're raising 3 crore, 5 crore, 2 crore, whatever it is. And he was initially struggling to raise the round. I said, you use my name. Tell everybody Arjun Vaidya is investing. And the way they were able to raise that round, they were able to raise some more money. But if there is one example of a brand that's doing branding right, it's Mittal. The ads they come up with, they came up with a rap song where they empowered all their artisans to bang the thatera and make a song out of it. They sent back the investment checks that the sharks gave them and said, we don't want your money, we want your gratitude and your support. Like, just the way they are building that brand has made customers in the US, in the UK, in Germany, in Dubai buy their product. Someone reached out to me saying, you talk about Mittal so much, you're an investor, मुझे UK में distribution लेना है उसका. And brand India has been too apologetic for too long. And these guys are making brand India sexy and cool for global stage. So I really love what they're building and I've seen it from the early stage. And they were kind enough to even mention my name on Shark Tank. And then the last one I would say is a business called Skin Inspired. This is a business by an entrepreneur called Piyush Jain from Udaipur. बहुत सी स्किन केयर ब्रांड्स डायरेक्ट कस्टमर को बेच रहे थे. He built a product that was so sound that dermats were recommending it. Dermatologists were recommending it. And product मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. Entrepreneur का passion मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. And I liked his vision, but he said ये नया कैटेगरी है. जैसे मैंने पहले बताया था, नई कैटेगरी जब बनाने हैं तो आपको थोड़ा कैपिटल का ज़रूरत है. तो I helped him refine his pitch. I helped him get the pitch. He said मुझे 5-6 करोड़ चाहिए होंगे स्टार्ट करने के लिए for marketing and building the business, etc. We got to pitch to many VCs. And we got eventually one of the best beauty, personal care, health and wellness company in the world to invest in him, Unilever. So Unilever has a venture arm called Unilever Ventures and we got them to put 11 crore in the business. And I put my own check in the business as well. But so many stories like this where some part of my experience has helped some part of the business. मैंने ही बोल सकता हूँ कि मेरी वजह से ये business आगे बढ़ा है. But some small part of the business where they needed help, I was able to put that together.
So Arjun, we've obviously आपने बताया था कि and we all know about this कि आप अपनी जगह पे free physical meetups कराते हो, right? We're just curious to know what is the underlying reason behind that. क्यों करते हो? What do you like about that? And what's the reason for that?
I've noticed कि जब ये events होते हैं तो restaurants में होते हैं, bars में होते हैं, lounges में होते हैं, तो लोग आते जाते हैं 20-30 मिनट स्पेंड करके निकल जाते हैं. लाउड म्यूजिक है. यू टेक अ सेक्शन ऑफ अ रेस्टोरेंट, देयर इज अदर पीपल डाइनिंग इन द पार्ट ऑफ द रेस्टोरेंट. एंड जब एंटरप्रेन्योर्स से मिलते हैं, जब एंटरप्रेन्योर्स इन्वेस्टर्स से मिलते हैं, यू वांट दैट राइट एनवायरनमेंट, दैट राइट वाइब टू बी क्रिएटेड, राइट? एंड सो आई सेड कि कोई बार में ये वाइब नहीं क्रिएट हो सकता है. एंड आई वाज फॉर्चुनेट दैट माय पेरेंट्स, दे हैव अ मच बिगर हाउस देन आई डू, allowed me to do this in their house. And when we had the first meetup in my house, I realized कि लोग निकलने को तैयार ही नहीं है. It's like we started the meetup at 6 o'clock and we said 9 o'clock we are wrapping up. 10 बजे तक लोग बैठे ही है.
और कैसा था? Walk us through what was the environment and
so we just did a quick intro of why we're doing it, etc. All of that. And we have a dining table, we have couches on one side, couches on the other side, we have a balcony, etc. All of that. And we just let people have conversations and meet people. ये meetup इतना मजा आया था. meetup after 10 o'clock we had to go. We had to go out somewhere. So we told people अभी 10 बजे के बाद हमें तो निकलना है. You won't believe the meetup continued with, there were some 60 people at the meetup. 30 people were in the lobby of my building chatting.
Till
they didn't want to till another 1 hour.
Wow.
And people who were coming up were like, क्या हो रहा है ये lobby में? कौन है ये सब लोग, right? So that vibe of, see, entrepreneur का problem entrepreneur ही समझ सकता है. And that vibe of getting people together, that in the right setting to be able to create a safe space to share their problems, I felt could only happen at home on an environment like that. तो हमने एक बार घर पे किया और इतना मजा आया कि I'll do it at my house only.
Yeah, I think we felt something very similar doing the Indian Ecommerce Summit a couple of months back. क्योंकि हमारे केस में भी e-commerce में usually it's Google Meet, Zoom calls. There's so many people that you've been seeing on the screen, but you've never actually met them. So meeting them physically, उनके साथ वही entrepreneur की problem. I think I love that quote, right? कि entrepreneur ही समझ सकता है. So sharing the problems, sharing the wins in a physical space, in the right environment is so powerful for anyone.
या ये मीटअप से एक और चीज़ मुझे रियलाइज़ हो रही है. आई थिंक ये तो मैंने आपसे भी कभी शेयर नहीं किया. आई थिंक यू वेरी गुड विद बिल्डिंग रिलेशनशिप्स. आई हैव रियलाइज दिस माई सेल्फ. आई हैव नोन यू फॉर द लास्ट 3-4 years now, I think, right? And you're invited at every event. You're friends with so many guys. You mentor so many people. How do you approach, call it networking, call it people skills, call it relationships? What is your approach with that? Because it is very smooth,
It's not networking.
Yeah,
If you approach it as networking, it's very forced.
agreed.
अभी आपसे ईशान से रिलेशन बना, पहले दिन काम पे बात नहीं हुआ ना.
हाँ जी.
We just caught up, we had a nice conversation, etc. All of that. You build that relationship equation and then you talk about work. Like, I'm very against someone getting introduced to me and, okay, ठीक है, someone has come for work specifically, it's okay. But if someone just has a general introduction to me or reaches out to me, etc., all of that, I don't like those messages that say, hey Arjun, my name is XYZ, I need this from you. No, that's very transactional, right?
Yeah.
And I'll do it. It's not like I won't do it. But if Nishkarsh asks me for something today, I'll go out of my way to do it. Every time I have a conversation with Nishkarsh now, I ask about his family as well, right? Because I genuinely care. And I don't have to be like that with every single person in the world. But you have to approach it as a person-to-person relationship. And I feel that when the relationships are made outside of transactions, they last for a very long period of time.
Nice.
If I have an issue now and I need help from Nishkarsh, I can call him at 11 at night and I don't feel uncomfortable. But relationship built on transactions don't work like that.
Yeah, because I think जब transaction अगर रुक जाए तो फिर relationship भी शायद रुक सकता है.
Correct.
So it definitely that's a great point. And talking about this, we know that आप काफी successful लोगों के साथ दोस्त हो, you share a bond, share friendships. I think let's pick Aman Gupta out of that list, right? Because he's a super, like, he's a almost a poster child for D2C startups in this era. Of course, you know him very well. What do you think कि क्या एक ऐसा कुछ फैक्टर है जो अमन गुप्ता को बहुत सक्सेसफुल बनाता है?
And to add to that, is Aman really the way that जो हम Shark Tank पे देखते हैं ना, he's like chill and मजे and all of that.
हम भी कर लेंगे.
हाँ, हम भी कर लेंगे.
Yeah.
The one thing I can say about Aman that I really like is he's exactly like what he is on screen. It's not like कोई screen persona है, कोई screen persona create होता है.
Real.
If I meet him outside at a restaurant, if I meet him outside at an event, if I meet him outside at his office, every time I meet him, he's the same person. And that genuineness comes out on the screen as well, right? Like, I remember one very honest interaction with him where we were at some D2C summit in Goa and someone was asking about his angel investments and he said, हाँ मैंने Kuku FM में पैसा डाला है. तो I said, हाँ सर मैंने भी डाला है. तो some entrepreneur standing next to him asked him कि exactly Kuku FM क्या करता है? He said कुछ content में करता है but exactly मैं sure नहीं हूँ. So the guy said आपने invest क्यों किया? He said बहुत पैसा है तो invest किया. And then he said नहीं that's not the case. I'm just joking here. He said देखो एक बार बात हुआ founders के साथ मुझे अच्छा लगा. I knew I wanted to support them. And अर्जुन जैसे लोगों पूरा दिन इस पे रिसर्च करते रहते. तो अगर अर्जुन डाल रहा है पैसा तो मैं भी डाल दूंगा पैसा. They're very honest about it, right? Like we were at another event in the hills, and we were watching the World Cup finals together, right?
Yeah, we saw clips from there.
We were all watching the World Cup finals together, and we were having a good time, having a few drinks, etc. All of that, and an entrepreneur came up to me and said, "Can you introduce me to Aman?" So I said, "Sure," and I introduced him to Aman, and he started pitching his business straight to Aman. Aman said, "भाई वर्ल्ड कप फाइनल चल रहा है,
Yeah.
लास्ट 5 ओवर है, हम सब साथ में देख रहे हैं, तू क्यों पिच कर रहा है? तुझे लग रहा है कुछ मिलने वाला? मैच देख, एंजॉय कर, कल मिल मुझसे. It's better than saying okay and walking away, right?
Talking about before.
But he was very honest with that entrepreneur as well, and I think that honesty is what makes him the person. He's also a marketing genius. Every time I've heard Aman speak at an event, I think I speak okay, not bad. Every time I've heard him speak at an event, people just go crazy about what he's saying because they relate. And that relate is so crucial in the way he's building the brand of Boat as well, right? I think I shared this post on LinkedIn once. Boat is not a headphones brand. It's not an audio brand. It's not a speakers brand. boat is truly a lifestyle. How did I figure this out? My gym trainer came to train me at the gym, drove a bike to come, and he kept his bike helmet outside where all the bags were kept in the gym. On his bike helmet, there was a sticker that said, I'm a boat head. Boat has nothing to do with bikes. Boat has nothing to do with automotive. He got a sticker with his headphone, but he felt connection to the brand. Like people put Apple stickers on everything, right? Yeah. On their water bottles, etc. All of that, you have seen it. He put a boat sticker on his helmet. And that shows the vibe that he has created with the brand, with his life, with him wearing the boat t-shirt. People are proud to wear it.
Yeah.
And that's not there in all brands. Even brands who do more sales than him, it's not there in those brands.
Yeah, nice. And I think both of us are very big fans of Aakash, from BellaVita. So, and what do you think makes him different or, make him who he is today?
I think Aakash and I now know each other since 2021.
Okay.
His was one of those conversations जब हमने business बेचा था तो he was also having a chat कि पैसा raise करूँ नहीं raise करूँ etc. All that. By the way, BellaVita in 21 was a personal care business.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a perfume focused business.
Right.
But every time I speak to Aakash, I realize it's no bullshit. Like हम 30 minute का slot लेते हैं, Google Meet book करते हैं because he's in Gurgaon, I'm in Bombay. 15 मिनट में conversation खत्म हो जाता है. But 15 मिनट में इतना value है, इतने takeaways है, इतने action steps है कि you won't believe it. It's just like, hey, what's up? We are good friends. This is XYZ we need to do together. This is what we need to do. Let's get moving. Like when he launched Unicorn, he just called me and he said, I need you to be a part of it. I need to be on Unicorn on day one. I need you to do this for me. And you're my brother. You're going to do it for me, right? When he speaks to entrepreneurs as well, he's like, okay, cut the crap. What's the business? What's the P&L? What's the scope? Will it work? If it will work, I'll talk to you more. If it won't work, these are the reasons it won't work. I've done pitch calls where we have spoken to entrepreneurs together. I've introduced entrepreneurs to him. And he's like, this is the place your business is not working. I'm not going to beat around the bush. In 20 minutes, I'll tell you the answer. Yes, no, maybe, it's done. Oh. So I think people like me like to have that conversation, like to have that vibe, like to do that full 1 hour chat. He's like, nahi, let's get to the point and let's get to the point now. And if you see his work, he's able to bring so much more efficiency into what he does because he's straight to the point. No bullshit. And people appreciate that.
Yeah. So I think I'm also interested in asking about one more person, Anupam Mittal, right? Someone who sits in the middle of the Shark Tank seat. So what about him do you think makes him extremely successful at what he does? And of course, he's had a very great career in even investing. So that's also a side of the...
he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
He's a super cool guy. Like if Anupam wasn't a startup entrepreneur and investor, he'd be a film actor for sure. He has that vibe and he's super cool. But I think, yaar, हम मिले थे अनुपम से in my first 3-4 months of work. मैं जब analyst था private equity fund में and मैंने एक e-commerce conference में I was a participant in the e-commerce conference and ये सब बड़े-बड़े e-commerce companies pitch करे थे वो time की e-commerce companies Clear Trip, Shop Clues,
OGs,
Health Cart, Bluestone, all of that. And there were all these investment analysts like me sitting in the room making notes, etc. All of that. And then there's one dude just standing at the back and asking the best questions. And that was, I didn't know who he was, but I found out later it was Anupam Mittal. And I think that he's a great entrepreneur with Shaadi.com and बहुत अच्छा business बनाया उसने. And a nice anecdote is that our offices were like 300 meters from each other. In a part of Bombay where startups are not built, Tardeo near Haji Ali. He's the OG of angel investing in India. ऐसे कहते हैं ना कि लोग angel investing 1 साल 2 साल से करे. अनुपम मित्तल 15 साल से angel investor है. He's the first check in Ola. So जो insights वो देते हैं Shark Tank पे, जो मैं Shark Tank पे तो नहीं हूँ, but even reality में जब हम companies के साथ बात करते हैं, अनुपम has seen it all. He has seen all the cycles. तो उनके questions, उनके insights, उनके cycle के knowledge, how will this company look in 5 years? No other investor I've seen has that. Level of depth of knowledge, given the history, he must have done 300, 350 startup investments now. That's more than any of us.
Nice.
Yeah, I think we see that depth even on Shark Tank. Like the kind of questioning he has, it's just unreal.
And deep.
Yeah.
Just so tell me something that what is, for people who are watching us right now, कुछ लोग अभी teenagers हैं, start करना चाह रहे हैं, कुछ लोग struggle कर रहे हैं. And, हर तरह के लोग अभी हमें देख रहे हैं. What is one advice you'd like to give to people who feel that, they've not made it yet or they're struggling right now or they really wanna, go big. What advice would you like
And I
to give
think the
them?
people who are on the fence, who want to start, but they're literally on the fence and something's not really, what's that nudge that someone needs?
The best advice I had heard, like जब मैं स्टार्ट कर रहा था ना, तो मैं एक प्राइवेट इक्विटी जॉब में था, 30 लाख पर ईयर का सैलरी था 2015 में. दैट्स लॉट्स ऑफ मनी, राइट? एंड माय बॉस एंड आई सेड मुझे मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है बट अच्छा पैसा है. एंड ही सेड यू आर 24 years old. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time to start is now. And from that I've learned कि जब तक आप स्टार्ट करते हो ना, तब तक एक्सेल शीट्स, फिलोसफाइजेशन, प्रोडक्ट सैम्पलिंग, फैमिली को दिया, सर्वे रन किया, फोकस ग्रुप किया. इट्स नाइस बट इट्स ऑल बुलशिट. बिकॉज जब तक कस्टमर अपने वॉलेट से पैसा निकाल के आपका प्रोडक्ट नहीं खरीदता है, तब तक यू डोंट नो रियलिटी. सो फॉर मी द ओनली एडवाइस इज द बेस्ट वे टू स्टार्ट इज टू स्टार्ट. And the rest is all history. And the rest is all bullshit.
Nice.
So just dive in without thinking to ज़्यादा सोचना नहीं है, just शुरू करो मतलब. In a sense.
Pivot होगा, change होगा, ideation change होगा. आपका जो प्रोडक्ट आपको लगा चलेगा वो नहीं चलेगा, बस दूसरा प्रोडक्ट चलेगा. But until you put the data to the test, you don't know the reality.
And a lot of people do that, right? उसको बोलते हैं ना paralysis by analysis.
Analysis
paralysis.
ज़्यादा research कर लेंगे, ज़्यादा लोगों से बातें करते रहेंगे, but what they don't do is launch. मतलब launch ही नहीं करते हैं, figure out. And one thing that I've noticed from your entire journey is you figured things out along the way, right? ऐसा नहीं था कि सब सालों लगा दिए
But
कुछ
सब
करेंगे.
लोग के जर्नी में यही है.
हाँ, सब ऐसे ही करते हैं.
सब लोग की जर्नी में यही है.
Right.
Maybe all the stories are not out, but everybody figures it out along the way.
Correct.
And you know how they say it, it's easier to connect the dots backwards. So everyone thinks कि oh he planned the whole thing, but it actually wasn't like that. You figured it out on the way, right? Yeah.
So देखो guys, हम लोग lean in dropshipping businesses build करना तो already सिखाते ही हैं through our education company Ecom Edge. Now dropshipping is great to start with, you can make some really good money while doing that. Like in our education company Ecom Edge, an average student makes 3 lakhs a month in profit within 2 months of joining the program, which is great. And when we realize this, it feels so crazy and we feel super duper proud about it, right? But building a D2C brand is very different. I started my D2C brand in 2021 and I can tell you कि यार बिल्कुल different ball game है. राइट आपको काफ़ी चीज़ें अलग करनी पड़ती हैं, जैसे ब्रांडिंग हो गया, पोजिशनिंग, मार्केटिंग, टीम बिल्डिंग, मार्केट प्लेसेस फिगर आउट करना है, रिसर्च कैसे करना है, एंड देयर इज सो मच मोर. एंड देन फ्रॉम रेजिंग फंड्स टू गेटिंग इन्वेस्टर्स टू इवेंचुअली एग्जिटिंग और सेलिंग योर कंपनी. एंड इफ एनीवन वांट्स टू लर्न दिस, दे शुड एब्सोल्युटली लर्न फ्रॉम द बेस्ट. And there's something really special that we have to announce today.
So at Ecom Edge, we always strive to level up as a community, and our North Star is impact. In the last 1 year, Arjun and Ecom Edge have been in talks, and I have something extremely exciting to share. चाहे आप एक existing dropshipper हो जो एक brand में transition करना चाहता है, या एक experienced marketing professional हो who wants to start a brand from scratch, just like Arjun did. So here's the great news. We're launching an exclusive program with Arjun. This program will teach you how to build lean Indian e-commerce brand.
और ये प्रोग्राम ना सबके लिए नहीं है, ये प्रोग्राम सिर्फ उन लोग के लिए है जो कि एक्चुअली में बहुत सीरियस हैं और बहुत बड़े ब्रांड्स बनाना चाहते हैं. ये प्रोग्राम सिर्फ उनके लिए है जो डायरेक्टली अर्जुन और ट्रिशा, हु इज अर्जुन्स बेटर हाफ एंड वाज अर्जुन्स को-फाउंडर एट डॉक्टर वैद्यास, उनसे मेंटर होना चाहते हैं एट एवरी स्टेप ऑफ द वे. एंड एनीवे, हम फाउंडिंग बैच में ना एनीवे लिमिटेड लोग ही ले सकते हैं. तो अगर आप फाउंडिंग बैच का पार्ट बनना चाहते हो ना, तो नीचे ईमेल वेटिंग लिस्ट आप ज्वाइन कर लो. वेटलिस्ट में ना आपको लॉन्च की डेट, उसका टाइम, सारे डिटेल्स मिल जाएंगे. और जब भी हम लॉन्च करेंगे, सबसे पहले आपको नोटिफाई किया जाएगा थ्रू ईमेल, और साथ में कुछ एक्सक्लूसिव बेनिफिट्स भी ऑफर किए जाएंगे इफ यू गोना बी इन द वेट लिस्ट. वी एट Ecom Edge are super excited about this, right Ashan?
Yeah, 100%. Super excited. So now Arjun, now that we've shared the exciting news with everyone, what are you feeling about this?
I mean, I'm excited to partner with the best in the business. We've been planning this for a long time, and finally हम ये कर रहे हैं. तो excited to partner, but also excited to increase the impact and impact hundreds of e-commerce businesses together.
Yeah. Same, yeah. And what do you see is in line for the students who are going to be like joining us or joining the program?
I think हम जब इस पे फोकस करते हैं ना, तो we want real stuff. There will be no ज्ञान, there will be no philosophizing. Actionable, real insights जो आप real time आपके business में implement कर सकते हो. And the idea is I want real time results in the business as well. So our biggest KPI as mentors will be, how can we make your business move? Can we make your revenue move? Can we make your gross margin move? Can we make your RTOs reduce? Can we make your business more efficient? अगर ये KPIs move होते हैं, तो that's real impact. That's what we want to make happen.
100%.
Yeah.
And I've got a personal question on behalf of both of us. Like, why did you decide to partner with Ecom Edge for this?
Actually, जब निष्कर्ष आपको याद में भी नहीं होगा, I just dropped you a Instagram DM saying, love your content, would love to connect. And you sent such a warm message back saying, let's get on a call soon. And 2 साल 3 साल से हम मिल रहे हैं. We didn't talk about work.
Yeah.
We just met for lunch. We met for dinner. You came by the office. We chatted. And इसके पहले Ecommerce के बारे में के partnership के पहले you said, how can I improve?
Yeah.
How can I improve my content? How can I improve the way I teach? And then finally, when we met in that meeting in Andaz Aerocity and had that breakfast, everything seemed to work together. So I'm so excited to do this, and I think working with friends. So let's make it happen.
100% guys, we're super excited. Both Shan and I are super excited for it because I think जो हमारा vision भी है with Ecommerce, right? The main North Star is impact, and through this, I think the impact that we're gonna make together is going to be.
Yeah, and I think this is so exciting for me personally, for us, because to kind of learn from someone who's been there, done that, and of course you've been impacted so many people in the process. ये नहीं मिलता लोगों को, right? The access is very hard to get. So the fact that we can actually empower people and give them this access is just going to be so amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just excited for myself to learn so much from this program, to be honest. So I can't even imagine for the people who are watching right now what they're feeling right now. But let's do it.
Let's do this.
100%. Yeah. And yeah, Arjun, overall, it's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Arjun. Thanks, Sharma. Yes.
And yeah, guys, नीचे comment करके ज़रूर बताना यार आपने what is the number one thing that you learned from this podcast, right? ये ज़रूर comment करके बताओ. अगर आपको online internet businesses, e-commerce businesses बनाने के ऊपर और content चाहिए, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब जरूर कर लेना. Do share this video with someone जिसको आपको लगता है definitely ये वीडियो देखनी चाहिए. And if you really want to learn from the best, if you really want to learn from Arjun and Trisha, join the waitlist and we'll see you on the other side. And that's it, guys. We're going to see you in the next video.